Hello everyone and welcome. It's John from DoubleSleeved and we are doing another arena video with the launch of M21 on arena a week before we get the real life cards. Thought I'd go back on and have another little bash at the beautiful arena life. I play fairly often but not enough to warrant any particularly new cards. Had a few wild cards which we've managed to spend, but I'm going to keep ploughing on with this red deck. However, this is a kind of elementally themed, kind of non-combat damage themed deck. As you can probably see here, we have got, going through the deck, we've got Scorched Spitter that deals non-combat damage. We've got Shock. We've got Chandra's Piling, which is a payoff. We've got a little bit of ramp with the Runaway Steamkin. Bit unsure about him, but he's an elemental, so you know. We've got Spitfire, which is a payoff. We've got Light Up the Stage for a bit of card draw. We've got Skewer the Critics for more non-combat damage. Got a bit more ramp and buff with Heraldic Banner. Again, bit unsure, but hey. We've got a little bit of elemental buffing and adding mana potentially or doing non-combat damage. All the things we want to see. And then this guy. I just want to know how good this is. I've not played this deck yet. I just want to see what we're looking at. This is Chandra's Incinerator, the crazy trampling elemental that costs X less to cast, where X is the amount of damage you've done. So we can get a couple of shocks done, or even one shock and a Scorched Spitter. This suddenly becomes like a couple of mana. And with the other ramp and bits and bobs, we've also got a Castle Embereth just to give a little bit of extra buff, and mountains. Now, we probably will get ramped out, we probably will get beaten top end, slow games. There's lots of things that can go wrong, but we don't play this game in order to have a completely smooth ride. So here we go. We'll just see how we do. I think we've only got a couple of days until this whole season's over anyway, so not played a huge amount in the last season. I think we're still in the gold tiering, but we'll do a good half hour now and we'll just see how we get on. Hopefully this isn't too loud of a background. One problem with playing 20 lands is you don't get particularly many lands. Who would have thought it? So it's going to be unless we draw something good off the top. Oh, obviously that's how I planned it. So I would even go so far as to say it's too good. So we're not too bothered about skewing the critics yet. We want to save that one. Ooh, a reef. I do like another elemental. I do like Teamer. Oh, we're being given a nice little bit of something extra there. I think what we'll do is we will just do this and we'll see what he does. And we've always got the shock held open. Ooh. We'll let them ramp. We'll let them ramp. Okay. So that's fine. So we've got 4 or 5 lands out. Question is, do you shock the reef? And we know that it's a bit of a dangerous card. I'm going to get Chandra out. That's what we're going to do.
Hey, I'm Chandra. Nice to meet you.
We're going to force the block. Which is absolutely fine. I mean, down to 7 life. We're going to have to pull something pretty spectacular off here. Another reef is good, but it's not going to win them the game next turn, which they're going to need to do. So they've pulled 3 reefs. Again, not particularly bothered by tapping my Runaway Steamkin. Not sure what that was going to achieve. Okay, so we'll do that.
Up in flames.
Okay. Could I have shocked them and killed them? Yes. Yes, I could. Do I know why I didn't? No, I don't. Haven't got a Scooby-Doo. Had lethal, and I just blew it away. So for anyone who's watching, I'm conscious I need to do one of these videos where I talk through every single thing I'm doing, but I don't want to slow the game down too much, but I will do it at some point. So this is all about direct damage, and really I should have just direct damaged them in the face. They should be looking to kill my Chandra now, because Chandra's got lethal with its -2 ability, which is deal 2 damage. They've given up anyway because this is too much pressure. So I'll talk you through the next game. Conscious I just staring at my screen like I'm a bit of a fool. So let's just go again. Now we went pretty well. This is not a meta deck. This is definitely not going to be a good deck at all. But what's important about the way I'm doing this is that I don't have the money to sink into Arena, and I don't have the need to get all these new cards. I've got a bunch of cards. I have obviously got a few, so I went for the Elemental Lizard and the little Elemental guy here because I think they're great cards. I think that they will be good cards. So I'm going to keep this because Chandra can deal direct damage. We've got lots of direct damage things we can play. As you can see on this top left, you've seen this. This is MTG Assistant, which I've got. It gives me a percentage of drawing each card, which is fancy. It's a free thing that you can get. Which just... Is it cheating? No. I just think it's useful to know, you know. Rather than me having to work out in my head whether I've seen a certain card or not, it just tells me. So, what am I looking at here? So they are Mardu, which is an interesting combination. They could be knights, they could be anything really. Could be cycling. And they're passing with 2 open. So I've got a couple of these guys. So I'm going to play my piling. It's a 1/3, so it's not particularly powerful. Okay, so they just flash in a couple of soldiers. That's fine. It's not particularly powerful as it is, but it gets the +1, +0 and double strike when we deal direct damage, or we deal any non-combat damage to our opponent. Fookie dookie. So at this stage is a bit of a pain because we're going to play another piling. Now they're going to have to block with a lot of things in order to kill it, but they can block with a lot of things. And it would be a bit of a pain for me. Now, what I'm looking at here now, looking at what my opponent's got. Oh, crikey. So this is a real a sacrifice deck. Winota sacrifice. So because they're attacked with humans and non-humans, they've triggered Winota, so she can just throw stuff from the library onto the battlefield. Oh man, which is just mean. So that was a really big turn for them, for sure. So my options here are to play Chandra, deal 2 damage to the Priest of the Forgotten Gods, which will automatically trigger Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Or I run away Steamkin, and that'd be it for turn. So I think I'm going to have to do that just to pressure them. I don't like our chances in terms of... I believe they've got lethal.
I sure hope you can't handle the heat.
And by I believe they've got lethal, I mean they've got lethal. So there's not a lot with that. That Winota is very strong. Boom, 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 and that's that. So I said in my preamble that we're, you know, there are some powerful decks out there, some speed that certain decks can create. I don't have a lot of removal outside of direct damage, and I didn't draw any of my direct damage, so bit of a shame. But we're just going to keep going. We're going to see, we'll see how a cobbled together deck works with a ladder climb in Serious Standard. Okay. Bit of Ugin, bit of Eugene there. So, this is a good hand. It's very good for us because those two... Oh, this is a very good hand. So we're going to go turn 2 piling. Past the turn, and then we've got 2 shocks and a Challenger's Incinerator and a Skewer the Critics. So what we're probably going to do is we're going to play a mountain, we're going to shock them, we're going to attack, okay. And then we're going to play Skewer the Critics for 1. And you might be thinking, oh, you've just missed out on that damage. But then we get to play Challenger's Incinerator on turn 3, which is a 6/6 trample. Now, their response is to Brazen Borrow it, which is fine. We've still done 9 damage, and we've still got the cards. More importantly, we've still got a shock and a chance to draw into more. So they're playing an adventure deck, which is like an old deck from back in Eldraine times. So we're going Heraldic Banner into our piling again. So the piling's a decent blocker. But what we know about this kind of deck is that they have plenty of these do something kind of significant, and with the Lucky Clover out, they can do it over and over again. So our next turn will be a fairly simple attack. Now, they'll have another Brazen Borrower, which bounces all this back to my hand, which is fine. But it's about they're using their resources and we're lowering their life total. There are some big cards, so they've got a Pulse, which is nothing particularly useful. They've got the Storm's Wrath, which could take out the piling, but it won't take out the Incinerator. So they're gaining some life, which costs them a bit to do. So they've used all their mana just to put Fair Wishes back out, which keeps this Trampler. So they're now having to block with their innkeepers, which is a bit of a... Okay. So they've now got a bunch of these Lucky Clovers out. They've got 3 mana open. They're going to either play a Brazen Borrower. If they haven't got enough mana open for the Storm's Wrath, they're going to have to think of something, because it's not looking particularly good for them. So we get this guy out. So they might flash in Brazen Borrower, which will take out the piling. And okay, so they return 3 things to my hand. Which is a bit of a pain. However, we're still on 20 and they're on 5. We saw it got out of hand last time. 3, crikey Mikey. Okay, so they've just got triple Lucky Charm Clover, and they're going to do now 4 lots of 2 damage, which will take out both of the creatures, which is a bit annoying. A little bit annoying. Okay. So, we've got 6 mana, so we can definitely get a Chandra's Incinerator out. But will it just get bounced immediately? That's the question. I think we've just got to put an Incinerator out so that we've got a threat on the board. If they want to do the Bone Crusher Giant again, they're going to have plenty of them. A 4th Lucky Clover. Blimey. That's a... Oh. So they're going to do 3 on the Incinerator. Oh. Oh, these decks are fun to play against. Okay, so they killed my Incinerator, and they did 4 damage to me. Swinging in with the edge wall. That wolf is very annoying. Okay. At this stage, we're on the back foot. there's no doubt about that. Honestly, this wolf thing is very irritating. Stop with your annoying... So they're going to go out, take cards from outside of the game. So we've got Destroy Artifact Enchantment. I mean, unfortunately at this stage, I'm going to concede because they've got too much going on and that wolf is annoying. Okay, so we're 1 for 3. We'll go one more time and see how we get on. I think what I want to try and demonstrate from this, obviously I do have a few cards, don't get me wrong. In fact, I think I might have a few packs. Well, let's just open a few packs and see if we get anything else that might boost this red deck. Okay. Nothing tickling my fancy there. But this is kind of how I would suggest to anyone who doesn't want to sink lots of money into this kind of game, which you don't have to do. Ooh, okay, okay. That's cool. A little wild card. Some good cards in there. Village rights and things. Okay. So, nothing that's going to help our little thing there. But opening a few packs, you complete these quests, these little daily challenges, and you gain all of the coinage. 1,000 coins gets you a pack. Get a bunch of packs, save up the wild cards, and buy a few cards. Obviously, I'm using the framework of cards I've bought previously or opened previously. Yeah, we'll keep this. But you know, if you've not got huge card pull something together you do like. Obviously, I'm not. Is this the most competitive list? No, no, it's not. But you know what? I like elementals. I don't mind a bit of red. I've got a few decent cards. This time around, I'm going to go for our Rampy elemental, and we'll see. We'll see what their thoughts on that are. Okay. So non-combat damage dealt to that thing, which is fine. I'll just happily sit there. So I chose to ramp more than anything because they seem to be quite slow. I expect this deck will deal damage to itself, and I would expect to.
I think I'm a decent enough pyromancer. Here, have some of that magic stuff.
There we go. So yeah, I would expect to see shocks or something similar going straight to these Capradors in a later on in the game, and we will suffer, I believe, from large flying. There you go. So they've just grown pretty big.
I'm not comfortable sticking around. Sorry. Be afraid, wizard. I hope I sounded tough. Whoosh! Up in flames.
Okay, so what we're doing there, slinging some of our guys down, we're doing some direct damage, and then we're getting very close
Yikes! I'm out of here.
to playing that. So what their deck's doing is kind of fun. Get your Capradors out. And they just kind of are very difficult to stop, and they just grow and grow. You destroy their creatures, they get bigger. There you go. So you're seeing at this kind of level when we're looking at gold tier. None of these that I've seen are in any way the current meta. It's still being worked out clearly, but none of those are going to feature. Team of Reclamation is still the most powerful thing going, and there are a bunch of other things that are kind of like in the mix. And obviously with the new cards that are coming out, we'll see what impact they have. But, you know, it's just a bit of fun, I think, more than anything. If you want to see me go through I was going to go through a basic deck that they give you when you start, and kind of talk about how you would play that deck, go through it, and give a few games and see how you can get on with a game with a new deck. Then let me know. This is a gentle video today, with the view that we've got our MTG monthly news video coming out soon, and then there'll be videos on how to complete a sealed deck, and some tips on how to create a deck out of a pool of cards when M21 is out in real life, if that makes sense. Because I know a few people have definitely asked about how do you pull a sealed deck together, and then let me just turn him off. Oh. And then a little bit of a jump start video maybe or two, and because that's clearly incredibly popular at the moment, and then our usual videos. If there's anything else you want to see, making the most of the cards you've got has been suggested, and how do you sort of pull other types of decks together with a limited card pool, because not everyone has access to unlimited cards, myself included, and not everyone wants to spend hundreds of pounds on additional cards. But yeah, it's just a few ideas for you. Either way, it's been a delight. I hope you've enjoyed my, I would call it playing, but it clearly was a very poor effort. Then leave me a like. Really appreciate it. Subscribe. Show your friends that there are other people out there that are clearly terrible at Magic. And we will see you in the next one.